Hello there everyone, how are you doing today? I hope you are all well. Today we'll be reading a report story called I Have Broken Out of My YouTube Bubble. I Wish I Had Not. If you enjoy, please like and subscribe, and check out the original story at the description below. Now, without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Julius Productions. Sit down, get comfy, and await your horror. I'm a goner already. I really doubt that anyone or anything will be able to help me and revert my life to a point before I decided to feed my curiosity and messed it all up with my own two hands. But you still have a chance. Spread that word so that chance is not the one to repeat my mistakes. Everything began as stupid as it could get. I was bored. Months and months of sitting in my tiny apartment, killing time with video games, Netflix, and social media scrolling. Not that it was my choice, you know the deal with the world outside nowadays. So yeah, tons and tons of games and streaming did no good to ease my unsettled mind. I have played them all: Apex, Fortnite, League of Legends, Magic the Gathering, even the weird Korean ones, and I got fed up with gaming. I have watched them all too. Breaking Bad, the one with Ricky Gervais, Desperate Housewives, JoJo, and all sorts of documentaries. And I'm not even speaking about YouTube videos. Jesus. Each next day resembled the previous one, and every next morning I was getting harder and harder to get up from the bed. New Year was at a brink already, and I felt really miserable. So it was time to change something in my life. Yes, proud words. Most of us do those resolutions and promises to become a better self starting this Monday? January? Spring? Whatever. Anyways, I went online and watched a couple of motivational videos on how to break out from the rut and grayness of meaningless actions we call modern life. And guess what? It worked! I felt so energized. I've rushed to clean my place and cook something nice for once in a while. Next thing in the morning, I'm going to go out for a run and make myself a healthy breakfast. And then I'm going to do push-ups and read some books and... were my last thought as the head hit the pillow. Guess what? It didn't work! Next morning, I felt as miserable as before. No will, no strength, no nothing. I have warmed up from the frozen pizza left over and tried to analyze how the hell did that happen. I've sat there for 20 good minutes, chewing rubbery dough and gazing into the space before me. As a conclusion, after all the reflection that I must be a lazy wimp by nature, I came up with the idea that there was just too much on my plate for a beginner. I've probably decided to change everything at once, and that's why it failed. It was overwhelming. So let's take baby steps, shall we? As my room is clean and shiny since yesterday. I couldn't come up with something better than cleaning my computer, you know, to get rid of all the temptations and distractions. So all my games, gone. All notifications, gone. All memes and joke pages, unsubscribed. Yeah, no more time wasting from me. I've also unsubscribed from all the YouTube channels that were a total productivity dumps and hit the refresh on my page. It all began at that very moment. Do you know about this concept called the YouTube bubble? I bet you do. But let me write this just for clarity. When you search for content and you subscribe to content, the algorithms of the platform will suggest you more and more content of that type. Additionally, it will propose videos that were popular among people who like the same stuff as you, live in your region, and God knows what else. Point is, at some moment you'll get a predetermined number of topics and genres and characters that will be recommended to you on a daily basis. And it will be relevant and somewhat fun, as it's all stuff you're interested in at the moment. Though, you will be isolated from the broad sea of other topics, subjects, and creators out there, as they will be excluded from your circle of interest. So let's say you're interested in cooking, BTS, Formula 1, and Dota. Your feed will be a wild mix of interviews, K-pop idols, streamers, video games, crashes, and analytic videos. Yada yada. At some point, you'll see the mukbang video suggested, as it falls close to cooking. At another time, you may discover it's some band where a lead singer is a brother of a famous Formula pilot. You get the point. Thing is, it's a closed ecosystem, and everything you throw at it makes it tighten its coils. So what's this all about, you ask? I was so silly I've decided to get to the bottom of the rabbit hole, don't get me wrong. I wasn't looking for adventure or anything, my goal was simple. Break out of the algorithms and fill my feed with some useful stuff. Popular science, motivational speeches, inspirational speakers, all that stuff. So I've subscribed to TED and a bunch of other tops and the pops in the field. And that's where the ugly kicked in. Each time the page refreshed, there were 2 to 3 videos on how steam engines worked, or how steroids are produced, and 20 plus you laugh you lose, and top 10 stupid brand names. I was frustrated. I mean really frustrated. Imagine you making a compromise with yourself for baby steps on life improving and sitting to a web page that mocks you with how you spent the time of all the year before. Yeah, I hear you. I should just close the damn browser and forget about it. But isn't this advice a bit ignorant? Is it that easy to just stop using something you're so familiar with in the past couple of years? Anyway, I've started clicking these 3 dots next to each video and selecting Don't Recommend Channel, and poof, all the fails of the week disappeared from my front page. Poof, no more. Best highlights of the most popular MOBA? Poof, no more. Top 10, I smiled. It was working. So I spent the day with finding good stuff and killing bad stuff. Grabbed a bite from my frozen dinner and watched some Netflix and went to bed. Baby steps, remember? Next morning, I almost spilled my coffee as I sat before the screen. Yes, all the annoying recommendations were gone, but the page was filled with something else. It wasn't best equipped to farm creeps anymore, but a bunch of some streamers playing the game. Top 10 was back, just with other 10s from other channels. The bubble was real, and it sounded like a challenge. I started clicking and blocking and clicking, and no, don't recommend this, thank you. My shoulders were stiff after a while, so I stretched a little bit and noticed it was dark outside already. I've spent my whole day banning channels from my recommendations. Fridge was empty, so I grabbed some stale chips as a bite and went to bed. I felt pounded, as if it were a day in the mines. Morning after, I made a heroic effort and didn't turn on my PC right away. Instead, I went shopping and brought back some groceries and stuff. I fired a couple of eggs and made myself a toast, as an excuse for my stomach yesterday. With plates still steaming, I've landed myself in front of the screen. Guess what? It was a mess. For some reason, I've got a bunch of beauty vloggers, Vine compilations, programming tutorials, and Indonesian local news streaming. What the hell was going on with that stupid platform? I took a sip from a cup and started to Google stuff. I will save you some time and jump to a part where the Chrome add-on was discovered. I'm not telling you the name of it, and so you are not tempted to find it, as the name is not even slightly connected to the topic. I think you're all safe. Point is, that script could do all that I previously did with brute manual force, but faster, better, and automatically. All I had to do was configure what to click, how far it should scroll down the page, and when to refresh. Plus, the keywords to ignore, as I still wanted to fill my front page with some educational stuff. You think it sounds all techy and difficult. Believe me, it was not. I've made myself another cup of strong black coffee and stared into the monitor where a cursor was flying by itself and making all those funny videos disappear in the blink of an eye. An hour passed, then another. I let the script do its job and finally picked a book. Baby steps started to pay off. It was some pop science tome on ancient civilizations and history. I was amused. Like, for example, did you know that the ancient Egyptians, both men and women, shaved their heads? Or that they had mummies of their beloved cats? Anyways, next thing I remember, waking up. Yes, I've fallen asleep and coffee didn't help much. Script was still running, so I stopped it and checked the results. The feed was pretty much full of what I was looking for, but still had plenty of weird stuff in it. Some unorthodox Christian mass recording from Bulgaria or Romania, I don't know. Some kids channel where a little girl was showing her new dolls and stuff, some dude who slot machine guns in the forest and reviewed his experience. Then I got a bright idea. I've opened a couple new windows, navigated it to YouTube, and started the script for each window. 3 times the speed, why not? Next morning brought me surprises. First, my YouTube page looked like Corn Hub. It's not a secret that YouTube is full of corn videos that were not indexed properly or weren't found by moderation bots, but that was too much. I mean, each second thumbnail was a picture of a naked body, or a couple dozen of them, and not just your regular softcore stuff. There were some really disturbing ones. But at least this was getting somewhere. Don't get me wrong, my experiment became some sort of game. A casino one, where dopamine is the prize. You're just dying to see what's going to happen next, what it will bring up. And at this point, I got rid of all the Minecraft and reaction videos, so I've cranked all the flows up again, and let them do their job. As a second surprise, I got mail from YouTube. I guess it was an automated message from no reply mailbox saying, "Dear so-and-so username, we notice you're not satisfied with the results of the service on our platform. Please keep in mind we value each opinion and you were heard. We will improve," and some more sugar-coated BS. Probably the message was generated due to an incredible amount of "don't recommend" requests from my account. Oh well. I did some laundry, cooked some real food, and read some more of the book without falling asleep this time. Then I became curious to check out the job market. I don't know if you know this, but at the end of the year, many people leave their companies. So many companies hire. After sending my CV a couple of times, I checked how it was going with my project. What I saw made me stare at the screen trying to understand. The page was full of videos with kids in them. You know, like those children channels where they unpack giant candles and play with adults dressed as Shrek and Spider-Man. With a light remark in the videos in front of me, and they looked frightened. Some of them looked like they were crying. I felt extreme unease and decided not to click on any of those. What was I going to do? Call the cops? And then what? What if they asked me how I ended up with my front page looking like this? What else? Flagging the video on YouTube and sending a complaint? For thousands of videos? You could say that I had the script, but 2 clicks and keywords are just one thing, and complex a bit with form filling is another level. So I did what I did best, just ignored it and ran the stuff further. My phone suddenly buzzed. It was an email notification. Same YouTube mailbox. It said this time something like, "Dear username, we analyzed the suspicious behavior of your profile and strongly recommend to you to stop doing whatever you're doing, or there might be some dramatic consequences." Well, that was creative, don't you think? Consequences? What, you gonna assault my uncle and dump my flower pot? At least it didn't say anything about banning my account, and judging from the page before my eyes, no actions were taken at the moment. Next morning, I was up at 7:45 and full of energy. After a quick shower and brewing some nice coffee, my butt landed into a gaming chair by my desk, where a soft buzzing of computer fans greeted me as usual. There was a mail again. This time it just said, "Stop! You have been warned." I was almost shaking to see what the cats dragged in this time, and as I look back, I wish I really did not. It was a bizarre mix of sickening imagery of gore, violence, madness, cruelty, and sick stuff you don't even want to see, ever. Somewhere at the very bottom of the platform, where the bots didn't dive deep enough. Hidden behind names of digits, random symbols, and foreign alphabets lies the trench that oozes with disturbing and mind-bending filth of the content. Executions, tortures, accidents, deaths, some freakish experiments and diseases. I don't even want to describe all that insanity. It felt like I was smacked with a baseball bat on my ribs. An overwhelming sense of dread and despair coated me. What the heck's going on here? I asked myself. I felt like I was about to throw up as I've scrolled the page down. Cold sweat dripped down my spine, making my skin all sticky and gross. I should have stopped there. I should have. Best thing to do was delete my account and forget about it. Like you tend to forget the ugly video of a dead hobo on some wicked image board back in the days. But I was not a wise man. Yes, I felt disgusted and sick. But there was a tiny voice at the back of my head. The voice that whispered, "Don't you want to see what's beneath it? The absolute nothing? Or maybe something else." So listen closely. If you're in the same situation right now and you didn't make that step yet, mark my words. Just delete your account and forget about this. I was stupid enough to mark the scripts and walk out of my front door. I've decided that some fresh air would calm me down and ease the tension. I went through the streets aimlessly for a couple of hours and finally got the chills up to a point where it became uncomfortable. So I went back home and dropped by the store to grab some booze to warm myself up and delete some of the most intense images from my memory. Should I say I got wasted? I woke up with a desert in my throat and constantly beeping smartphone. I've reached trying to focus my sight. Suddenly my body was as sober as the runner the night before. The marathon, there were 243 notifications about new mail on my accounts. I must have stared at the screen for a good 5 minutes trying to realize what was happening. Next thing, as emerging from the deep waters and gasping for breath, I've quickly unlocked the screen and tapped my mail. All the messages were from that same YouTube account. I scrolled down to the first unread, "Dear username. You have been warned, weren't you? On behalf of the team, I cannot guarantee that your user experience will be as comfortable and convenient as planned. Please consider stopping your actions and waiting on your further goals. Thank you." It was delivered at 22 o'clock yesterday. I was asleep at that time and already due to alcohol intoxication. Next one from 2331 read, "Dear username, this is the last warning. We cannot stop you, as we are not eligible to order you using our platform by the provided rules, but consider that your actions are your full responsibility. We won't be able to help you if you encounter some technical difficulties caused by your deeds. This is our last attempt for the son of the man and seek to save that which was lost." Most of the following ones looked like automated ones containing only one word, "Stop," and being sent every minute. I've tapped some randomly, and all of those were the same, except the last 4 that were sent with different intervals. First one it said, "It's too late, we are sorry." Second one was even weirder, "For my eyes are all their ways, and they are not hidden from my face." This was getting really strange. Don't get me wrong, I was terrified at some point, but this seemed like a bad joke, as if the guy who composed the emails were sitting in a cruddy support cubicle somewhere in YouTube office, and was one of the guys who was about to quit. by the end of the year, so he was having some fun with me as a parting gift to the company from his side. Well, I was not laughing. Third message was just empty except for a dot in the body of the mail, and the fourth one said, "Do not watch it. I mean it. Just do not stop." Well, that looked like a poor punctuation of choice to me. Anyways, the morning was setting, and I was still feeling like crud from the booze I drank the night before. But the life moved on, so I grabbed a big glass of ice-cold water and turned on the monitor. That was the most terrible mistake of my whole miserable life. I am unable to describe what was there on the screen. It all smudged and smeared into a vivid mess of colors and forms. I heard a wail escaping my throat as the image before my eyes skewed, and the line of sight started to lean towards the floor. I felt my eyes pumping, as if something was pushing them to the back of my skull. The last thing I remember was a grotesque eye that was as if filled with pus, watching me from a real-time preview of some sort of stream, and the mouse cursor clicking "Don't recommend channel," making it disappear. I felt into darkness, losing consciousness. I'm pretty sure that at that very second, the script saved my sanity. One more second, and the image would fry my cells, so I would forget who I was and where I am. So learn from my mistakes. Some things are better left alone. You know what they say? Curiosity killed the dumb asshole. If you're on the same banning rampage, or if you ever had an idea to check out how it looks when you scooped it dry, just don't. There's no turning back, and something morbid at the end of that path. It's the force they try to hide rather than oppose, and I think I know that reason. Yes, I am writing this, so this means I'm still out there alive. But to tell you the truth, I am not that traumatized by that I saw it. I am horrified that it saw me. I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe, it helps the channel a lot. See you next time.